At thousands of impressions per hour, the press run looks flawless. The colors are sharp, the adhesion is immediate, and every standard physical rub test passes without a single red flag. But securing a physical cure is deceptively easy. Controlling what remains chemically mobile beneath that hardened surface requires navigating a much harsher reality. That initial physical approval creates a dangerous illusion, because while the outer crust of the ink film feels completely locked in place, the internal chemical architecture tells a chaotic story.
OnlyTRAININGS. Learn what works in the industry.
Deep within the matrix, residual monomers and unreacted photoproducts quietly detach from the network. These isolated molecules, alongside non-intentionally added substances, actively leach across the substrate barrier, moving directly toward the food contact zone. What R&D formulators celebrated as a flawless production run is secretly a catastrophic regulatory failure quietly waiting to trigger. When migration failures happen, the immediate instinct is to swap out the photoinitiator and try again, but low migration safety cannot be engineered by isolating a single ingredient. The entire chemical ecosystem dictates exactly what remains mobile. Formulators are forced to balance a dense matrix of variables, from resin architecture and reactive diluents to heavy pigment loading, all while fighting external forces that actively attack the cure, like oxygen inhibition, fluctuating film thicknesses, and unpredictable substrate barriers. Add the modern shift from traditional mercury UV to narrow wavelength LED curing, and migration levels can spike unexpectedly if the chemistry is not perfectly calibrated to the light source. This volatility is exactly why changing a single color or swapping to a different substrate yields wildly inconsistent results on the press. It is why the invisible threat of set-off contamination multiplies exponentially the moment high-volume materials are tightly stacked or rolled. And it leaves ink developers bearing a brutal burden, balancing the relentless demand for high-speed manufacturing against zero-tolerance compliance standards. Escaping this cycle of unpredictable diagnostic failures requires a total mastery of the chemical architecture. Enter the definitive, expert-led solution: low-migration UV LED inks and coatings for food packaging. Master the variables of formulation, photoinitiator chemistry, NIAS control, and EU and FDA compliance. Translate strict regulatory demands into confident, practical formulation decisions. Lock your compliance directly into the chemistry, long before the physical package ever reaches a testing laboratory. Register on OnlyTRAININGS and formulate your next run with absolute certainty.